Steve had one of their best performances as a character overall in terms of placements at LVL UP EXPO 2026. 3 different Steve players made top 8, and honestly they were all doing super well, and then Zomba happened and beat all of them in losers bracket, so nothing really against them. But today we're going to be watching a little bit of all of their Steve gameplay. I know that people don't want to watch full Steve sets, so I'm actually going to be covering each of the 3 Steve mains and their one of their games. So like whatever set winning game they have, it's Carmelo versus Riddles, who made top 8, so I can't cover the top 8 game because Carmelo lost that. Crepes versus Light, and then Akola versus Ashimo in winner's side. So Akola got 3rd, Crepes got 4th, and Carmelo ended up getting 7th. 3 really good performances. Like the players overall did really well, but I don't really like Steve. And people don't really like watching Steve, so I tend not to cover them, but I do want to cover it just because 3 out of top 8 is kind of a lot, which I feel like I haven't really seen 3 of a top 8 in, I feel like, quite some time. I could be wrong about that. You can let me know down in the comments, but, you know, Mudace was the Steve Slayer in winner's bracket, beating Syrup and Carmelo, but unfortunately falling to Akola in winner's quarters, and then Zomba literally beat all 3 of these players in losers, so let's get into it. And I know that I've always advocated for Steve players because they get like bullied a lot, but I'm not bullying them. I'm just saying I don't like the character. So be nice to them, but you can be mean to the character because the character is not a person, but don't be mean to the people. It's always very different. But yeah, let's watch. This is going to be the top 16 losers. So Riddles was in winners quarterfinals, actually. Unfortunately, most of his games were off stream, so I'm not going to be able to cover his run without like mediocre quality, which you can let me know if you want that in the comments. But he had a crazy good run. He also got 3rd, I believe, in Street Fighter, which was very, very impressive. But this matchup, of course, Steve probably one of the worst matchups for Riddles as a player. Good SDI into the platform, just because like Terry and Kazuya both do poorly. Like Kazuya can win, but it's a little bit rough, and good DI there by Carmelo to make it a little bit more difficult to get that in air, but that up tilt is just so good, and the approaching for Kazuya is so impossible. You can break blocks, but nothing you have is like super lagless. Yeah, that the hold quarter circle, I forget what it's called, dragon upper, is pretty good, but you still need like a call out, and yeah, if you just go a little bit higher, it can be kind of a pain. This is just looking pretty rough. Also, I believe Riddles lost to Crepes in winner's side, so it was a double Steve angle for him after beating Sonics and also beating Toon. Like, Toon had the opportunity to get top 8 as well, so this almost was like a 4 or 5 Steve top 8, but a couple of clutch performances get it out. Nice. Speaking of clutch, the electric there for Riddles, but now there is Diamond online, even stock, so now this is going to be overall a worse position than stock 1, just because that first, God, it is 52. Why does minecart hit so many times? That's my biggest question. Like, there are so many interesting decisions that they made when designing this character, and I feel like minecart hitting as many times as it does is definitely one of them. That should be the stock, even with the bounce off. Yeah, Diamond forward smash, just so powerful. Could have been teched, but honestly, I expected it to be untechable, so I don't blame Riddles for thinking the same thing. There's an electric, but drops the combo, unfortunately, and that electric's going to be too high, so no combo there. And this is just where it looks bad. Like, Kazi doesn't really have any great tools. He doesn't have a jump, like a normal jump, so he can't just like jump out of shield pressure, which is one of the big reasons why this matchup is bad, is because if Steve just decides to be in the air, it's really not that much he can do about it. But again, he did beat Toon, which I don't even know how he beat Toon. Granted, Carmelo is having, no offense to Toon, like just a better season. Like Carmelo's season has been ridiculous, winning, I think it was Afterburner, and I think winning a Japanese major as well, or like doing really well. I don't 100% remember the results because I don't pay that much attention to the Steve players, no offense. And that's going to be up tilt with gold. This is one of like the most ruthless things, is like when one of your tools breaks as diamond, you can still craft the other tools. So you have gold up tilt and gold axe moves, which is going to be ridiculous for up air and up tilt in terms of the frame data, and then you still have the kill potential of Diamond Bear. So that was like Omega super plus on hit, like more than usual, just because of how spammable up tilt is. He doesn't even do 2 up tilts, so it's actually pretty good recognition that the first one hit. I guess just recognize the fact that it was going to be a combo, and that is going to be 3-0 for Carmelo. Again, a little bit rough for Riddles, getting, I believe, 6-1 by 2 Steve players in winner's quarters to get 9th, so unfortunate for him. Riddles, I respect you. Now, that was Carmelo. Let's move to the 4th place Steve, Crepes. So Crepes, the Steve Wario dual main, finds himself in top 8, lost to Doramigi in winner's side, I believe, and then has to fight Light in losers quarters. Fox does like decently well into Steve with certain aspects. The speed is obviously going to be great, the juggling is great, but this is the bad part, right? And then you're going to get forward aired. I didn't look like SDI up on Light. I don't even know if it matters on Kalos. Really smart counter pick. I believe this was, let me just double check if it was his counter pick. So honestly, a really smart counter pick, specifically because the bottom blast zone in this stage is pretty high. Town, Smashville, and Kalos have really high bottom blast zones, which means that things like this forward air are just going to kill Fox Omega super early. But also there's no SDI up on Light here, so maybe could have lived, because it kind of seems like he dies at the very end. Obviously with the weird camera stuff, you can't exactly see how far down they were, but maybe the SDI up would have helped, and instead it's going to be just a one stock deficit for Light. Again, you know, the combo is a little bit exaggerated on Fox, but Fox does have a lot of good tools in the matchup until the Steve kind of starts planking, which I heard that Crepes did a little bit in this set, but I heard also it didn't really matter that much, but like still having that option is kind of ridiculous, which again, if you want my opinion on, you know, what should happen to Steve, you should definitely check out my like Steve was nerfed video, because I definitely agree with a lot of what South Florida is doing. But again, look at that advantage state. That's the thing about Fox in this matchup, is you have a really good advantage state against Steve, which Steve's disadvantage has really strong options, but especially when you have no iron, it can be a little bit mid. So being able to just like bully Steve entirely, especially when PMLG is banned, God, if it's not banned in every tournament, that would be like an egregious failure by the TO's part. But like Fox is able to actually get a lot. It's just he has to hopefully not die at low percents. It's kind of one of those things where like, honestly, it feels like Fox players should just kind of like platform camp a Steve, or like try to bait them to hit them with like an up tilt or something like that, or an up air, because dying to jab at 0 is really bad, but you don't necessarily have to die at 0 there. I like that angle from Light, making it a little bit difficult for Crepes to punish. Maybe could have been a little more aggressive with the punish, but either way, very close here, 76%. The Fair does this weird hitbox, which is actually really bad. It reverses that position in an unfavorable way, and now Diamond is online, and Crepes is going to go for it. That's actually pretty risky, but he does immediately get the timing with Fox's approach. Okay, and that's going to be forward air, so Crepes once again doing incredibly well. Uh-oh, that's not good. Uh-oh, does a downer. I think that's just going to be... Oh, no, he made it. Okay, cool. I thought he was going to be dead, and I was going to be really sad about it. I like the air dodge in bait there. This is probably just going to be jab forward smash just for maximum damage, and then you can still get an edge guard with all of these blocks and stuff. It makes it really difficult, and that's just going to be the anti-air up tilt, the best up tilt in the game, and you can really see why, especially considering how well it confirms, and that's going to be the shield... the poke there with the anvil on the roll option, because it breaks the block. Again, a lot of strong tools. Light has to make a hell of a comeback here. Does get the reaction, so that is going to be the stock. Doesn't break the crafting table for some reason, but I guess he's going to spawn it anyway because he needs to get this diamond, and no tools right now. So if, like, I feel like I could see Light making a comeback here, just getting a really strong advantage, but you kind of have to avoid... That was unfortunate. It feels like Light did the right thing there in terms of rolling, trying to roll through the blocks. But I think he just got like barely clipped here. So he goes for a roll here. And then I think just because of the way his animation is, his hands like stick out of the roll. Yeah, you can kind of see his body like pushing, and then he's like moving his arms like this. And so that gets caught by the anvil, and then just the up smash is going to kill. So tricky setups there with all the blocks being able to slow down the minecarts. Super important there. Crepes advances to losers semis, where he ends up losing to Zomba. Again, Carmelo lost to Zomba at 7th place. Zomba then had to fight Ashimo instead, so almost just fought 3 Steves back-to-back, giving them the Mute Ace treatment. Again, Zomba was successful, and now let us go to Akola, the #1 Steve in the world, and he made it all the way to Winners Finals. And here we have a fight between 2 of Japan's elite players, Akola and Ashimo. Akola in like somewhere the top 3 conversation with like Akola, Mia, and Dora Migi. I feel like Ashimo is kind of in that conversation just a little bit lower with like Raru, Ashimo, Carmelo now. Also, I feel like Mark's been doing pretty well recently, but that might just be an exaggeration of mine. But yeah, obviously one of the strongest players in Japan has been for quite some time, but Akola has been a thorn at Ashimo's side for quite some time. I believe he's only lost like 2 or 3 sets. I can't believe that TNT didn't hit Akola. And we are currently already at 2-1 for Akola. Again, this matchup I don't feel like is quite as bad as like the Kazuya matchup for Ryu specifically, just because you have better jumps and you have a normal jump speed and you have like a bunch of different good tools. But I would still say the matchup is favored for Steve because you still don't have a great answer for walls. Like you can back air and forward air them, but might be a little bit too laggy. But we see right now Akola struggling really to get anything super meaningful on Ashimo, but gets the parry there, and this is going to be a big combo. Yeah, recognizes the fact that his pickaxe broke here because it hit the crafting table as well, so he goes for the jab forward smash as the ender. Very smart stuff. Maybe could have been SDI'd up by Ashimo if he recognized that in time. Tries to just get a greedy down air, and the problem with this matchup, as opposed to the Kazuya matchup, is the edge guarding is a little bit worse for Ryu. Like, the neutral's a little bit better, but okay, and he gets the nil 2. That's the first nil we've seen in all these games. Nil 2 going to be a very strong tool, but of course it is pretty difficult to react to. But Akola is probably, at this point, the Steve with the best nils in terms of the top Steves at the very least. I would love to see the Steves go for more nils. Big fan of nils, but you know, sometimes you don't need to. But he's struggling to find any of these big combos with the gold tools, just not the amount of hits done he needs for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why. Yeah, just falling out in like really awkward spots because he's going for like sword fairs as opposed to jab and then jump maybe. And Ashimo's going to break that crafting table as well to threaten the resources just a little bit. There we go. Ow, look at that damage. Oh, 78. All the tools are broken except for up tilt, and he just goes for up tilt up smash, which again, shouldn't be a combo. He should have to nil for it, or even nil 1 for it. That'd be nice, but oh, he actually had an out of shield there. Could have been an up smash, I believe, but I don't think Ashimo was ready for it, so he ends up just like recentering himself and then short hop instead of full hop, so he gets hit by that minecart. That move is ridiculously strong, and now this is just a really, really good position for Akola, which I believe he just mined his second diamond. No, he didn't. Okay, I thought I saw blue, but it was probably just the blue of Steve. So diamond online for next stock, and he just kind of has to do nothing here because he doesn't want to burn. Like, you know, sometimes it is a little awkward to Steve. Like, he's winning, so it doesn't really matter, but if you're losing in this type of position where like Ashimo's at 2 stocks 0 and Akola's about to lose his second stock, it could be pretty awkward for Steve's to like close out stocks when he doesn't have a lot of tools, because at this percent you don't want to build your diamond because you're just going to die immediately. So you do have to sometimes just sacrifice your stocks, which feels a little weird in terms of resources. It's honestly mostly like Pokemon battles, like VGC stuff, where it's just like, well, this Pokemon kind of did its thing and I need like the free switch in as opposed to like whatever damage, or like I don't need this Pokemon to stay alive. They've done their job already. So that stock has done its job for Akola, and oh, just the red fireball was a little bit too high here, so it was not going to be the guaranteed shield pressure all the way. That actually could have maybe been a walk forward heavy F tilt for a shield break, and 46 I think is the percent that it'll just kill with a charge force smash at the ledge. So instead now you have to deal with a full fresh stock for, well, not fresh, but still a full stock for Akola. Uh-oh. Down throw up smash. Great SDI by Akola. Wow, fantastic SDI. SDI's all the way out here because he knows that this heavy up tilt, I believe it is, whatever the move, pretty sure it's heavy up tilt. You can SDI super hard out of it so that the Shoryu does not sweet spot. I don't think it would have killed anyway, but still getting out of it is really, really big. The advantage is now better, and Akola just slowly racking up percent. Doesn't really have a lot of tools or like a lot of mats, but at this point he just kind of needs a couple big hits. He also didn't get his diamond to the stock, which was really important because he's saving the diamond for the final stock, but this is the position where it's just kind of GG's. Another down smash. That angle is so ruthless. And Akola, it seems like, pops off 3-1. Again, Ashimo's incredible, so he respects him a lot. Like, one thing I will always give Akola, even when I'm like, Steve is lame, he respects the hell out of his opponents, and just like does his best to make sure that he shows that, whether it's the handshake or popping off and stuff like that. So, big fan of Akola as a player, but Steve is getting tiring. So yeah, that was all the 3 Steves, and I hope that made more sense for y'all. And again, you can let me know down in the comments if I'm being too harsh, but I have found that people don't really watch Steve videos unless it's like this, I'm complaining about him or something like that. But I did want to keep the storylines of like, hey, the Steves are like doing really well. Like, I feel like Crepes hasn't top 8'd a premiere maybe ever. Maybe he did one other one, but I feel like that was like a really good performance from him overall. Akola, he's used to the winner's circle, and Carmelo's getting used to the winner's circle. So yeah, incredible, really solid game plans from them overall. It's just characters really good, and those were all pretty good matchups for Steve. I would say Fox is the worst one. He still got jabbed at 0 and died. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about it. As always, social media and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.